make sure that I join the audio. And now, do we see the little thing going up and down? I just don't know about this. Okay, so here we are in source, and let's see, not that. Do you guys know about ls-lrt? That gives you everything in reverse time order from when it's been modified. And if I head it, it's like, oh, okay, so, well, that's not what oh, no, actually, I want LT, okay. And so now, okay, so it's in my LG lectures directory, and live code, and 2017-10 ExpressDB. Okay, so here we are. And why did I go in here? Oh, because I wanted to do a git add of public. Okay, so cool. All right, so yeah, so now I just want to show, I was just tipped off that these hadn't been added because they were bright green in Atom. And so I just wanted to make sure that those were added. All right, so let's talk about the structure of this project. Let's start with the database. So in the database, I have a bunch of tables. And my tables, so I have a species table. And it has one column, that's the species ID, and one column, that's the species name. Okay, fine. Then I have a pets table, and pets, they all have a species ID, which references their species. Yeah, as species ID. Yeah.
For the species ID, is it not a foreign key as well?
It is. I guess I might use different syntax, but yeah, but this when I say references, that means it's a foreign key. Yeah, the question was, is species ID a foreign key? And yeah, the answer is definitely, yeah. Okay. Owners, does owners have any foreign keys? No. So how are owners and pets related to each other?
In the pet owners table.
In the pet owners table.
That's a join table.
It is a join table. The pet owners is a join table. It has its unique key for the row, and then it has a pet ID and an owner ID. Why did I make a join table out of this? Why couldn't I just have a pet ID row in owners?
You don't want to have redundant information in your tables as much as possible. You want to pull everything out into individual tables so that they're not, so you don't have like pet ID everywhere.
That is actually, if this is perfectly perfectly good database design. You know, and as a matter of fact, I do it here, right? I don't have a pet species table. So why would I not want to have a pet ID here? Each owner can have many pets. So why can't I just put an owner ID here? Because each pet can have multiple owners.
I never thought of it that way, but okay, that's a great way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
Redundant information,
Yeah.
but I just didn't articulate it well.
Okay.
Okay, no, that makes sense.
Okay, so we need this pet owners table because there's a many-to-many relationship between pets and owners. Yeah.
So, oh, got it. Okay. Click. It's light bulb.
What was the light bulb?
The pets,
the pet owners.
I see. I don't know if you went over it already. Did you go over the foreign?
Yeah, so the foreign key is just, so this species ID, it references the species ID here. And so we get, with that, we get referential integrity. Can somebody describe referential integrity?
It's like it's related to that table. The information from this table is connected to that table. So that's our linking chain.
Yeah, so it's true. The tables are connected and they're related. Referential integrity means there's some things you can't do. Some things that you could do if I just had this as integer and it wasn't referencing species, but that I can't do if it's referencing species. I can't, if I have a species in the species table and it's being referenced in the pets table, I cannot delete that species row.
The species ID row.
Yeah, so let's actually try that. So let's go into my database. Okay, and so how can I just take a look at what my data is? /D will show me what my tables are.
Then you see the table select star from.
This is dangerous on a database you don't know. Why?
Because you don't know everything that's on it.
I could have millions and millions of rows. So I'm going to limit 10. Okay, I only had 4 rows.
Okay. And okay, thank you for showing me limit.
So if we have, and now I'm going to select star from species.
Can we use the language? It just helps me out with understanding it. So instead of saying star, can we just say select all?
Sure.
Just so it's just like when I have to re-explain it to them.
Yes. So yeah, select all columns, all rows from pets, but limit to 10 rows. Here, select all columns, all rows from species, but limit to 10 rows. I happen not to have a lot of species either. Okay, so now I have, so what species is Crookshanks? A cat, because it's species ID 1, and here we see species ID 1 as a cat. How many dogs do I have? 2 dogs. There are 2 pets with ID 2. This is referential integrity. I'll show you the 2 things about referential integrity. One is delete from species where ID equals 1. Yeah, I can't, because that would leave this line without a reference. Oh. Yeah, so it says it violates the foreign key constraint. I can't delete that row with ID 1 from species. Yeah, not only that, any of them that have a reference, right, to this table. So all of these have a reference, and I'm gonna get this error every time. But I could also insert into species, species name, values, and what species do we want to insert into there? Okay, and why do I not have to specify the species ID?
It's going to automatically assign one because it's the next one that's pushing.
Yes, because my species ID is serial, it'll get automatically assigned.
That's the word. Thank you for using the language. Thank you.
All right, so now if I select star from pets,
So with the foreign key, like the syntax I learned is that you like actually type in foreign key. So I'm just curious how when you're writing your schema, how it knows that it's a foreign key when you're not saying foreign key. That's
I'm using this
the
references and
so
references the other table.
Okay, so references just automatically makes it a foreign key.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
About the references. Oh my God, exactly.
Okay, so now if I look at species, I've got snake. ID number 4. And let's look at pets again. Okay, do I have any snakes? No. So if I do this, what's going to happen?
It's going to be like, okay.
You don't want snakes, fine with me. Okay, cool. So, right, the other referential integrity thing. So let's say, does anybody know, I think on the Flintstones, the dinosaur's name was Dino, right?
Dino. Yeah.
Dino, oh, Dino. Okay, all right. So I am going to insert into pets, and I'm going to do name, species ID, and I'm going to say Dino thing. I just don't want you there. Okay, Dino. And let's say I thought I had a dinosaur that was species ID 5. Let's just say I thought that. It won't let me because it violates the foreign key constraint. I'm violating referential integrity again. So those are the two things that the foreign key gets you. You can't delete something if the foreign key is referenced in another table, and you can't add something if the foreign key is not, doesn't exist. Referential integrity. Okay. All right, so yeah, so there's my pets, my pet owners. Let's do a little bit more SQL while we're here. So somebody tell me, oh, so I'm gonna select star from owners and select star from pet owners, just so you can have an idea of what data I have in here. All right, so, and I'll do select star from pets again. And I want somebody to give me a query that is going to tell me all of Astro's owners. And specifically the name of all of Astro's owners. And I'll just so that people have both of these.
So you would select name from owners. You have select.
Oh, yes.
And you're going to join. Sorry, I'm trying to see everything.
Ignore the double join.
You're going to join it. Well, you're going to do 2 joins because you're going to join it with pet owners on the owner ID, and then you're going to join. You're going to join pet owners with pets on the pet ID. And then you're going to say where pet ID. I don't know his pet ID.
What? What? You did? That's just ridiculous. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So 1. Yeah, but take, like make sure you learn that before you're phase interview.
Just memorizing Astro's
Oh.
ID.
Yeah, exactly. On owner ID.
Oh,
Doesn't like that one.
So it's owner ID. I forget the exact syntax. It's like owner. It's pet owners dot owner ID or dot. No, you're right. It's the name of the. So, yeah. So it's like you're going to join pet owners on.
I'm gonna give us some aliases.
Aliases. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Po just isn't really doing it. I'll do pone better. Okay. All right. So here we're going to want to see on o.ownerID equals pone.
Yeah.
And p.petID.
And then that should get rid of it.
So let's look and see. Name. All right, name. Oh, name is ambiguous. Name, it doesn't know which table I want name from. Because I have a pet name.
Because you're already setting the alias.
Yeah. Right. Let's try that one.
Okay, so we need to put the.
That's ambiguous also. Okay. All right. And if we do p.name, o.name, and we eliminate this where, it should get us all of the pets and their owners.
So you'll have multiples of.
So Crookshank, yeah, exactly. And Astro's there twice because Astro has 2 owners. Okay, cool. Any questions on that?
So you just have to give them like distinct identifying names or whatever.
Well, you mean because when it was complaining about, yeah, it's because pet ID was in multiple tables and name was in multiple tables, and it didn't know, right? Like, for example, in my first query, I could have been asking for the pet name and not the owner name, and it just didn't know. It didn't know which name I was asking for. Yeah. Other questions?
When you do those 2 joins, would you just recommend the like standard? What is it? A left join when it you just?
Oh, yeah. So if I wanted outer joins, that would be if I was looking for owners without pets or pets without owners. Yeah. In this case, that's not what I'm interested in. I'm only interested in pets and owners that are connected. But yeah, if I wanted owners without pets or pets without owners, I would do outer joins. We can, if time permits, we can look at that.
I mean, I'd rather get to the myself. I don't know about anybody else.
That was my request.
Okay, yeah. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I just meant,
Yeah.
this is great. Yeah, this is really great.
All right, so I'm just going to save this as query for now. Nice. Okay. So let's put this in. Cool. Who taught you that? Monica. Nice. Okay, so this was in LG lectures, live code, this one here, and we'll put it in DB, and I'll say pet owner.sql. So we'll save that. The green here means what? No, yellow means there's been a change. Green means it's new. It means, and how do I deal with new files in Git? Ooh, what does the dash capital M do?
Capital N.
Oh, capital N. Oh, you do like git add, like you just do a global git add. Okay. I'm more cowardly. So I'm going to do a git add, and then I'm going to specify petowner.sql.
Do you use git add -p?
What's the -p? I don't.
It's patch, and so it shows you like every chunk like Monica.
Monica's a big -p person.
Yeah. And so it shows you the chunks that you've changed, and it asks you to confirm every one or not.
Okay. Is that the commit or the add?
You can actually do both.
You can
do commit -p. It goes through the patch tab, which takes you through the diffs from the previous to the current version, and then immediately brings you into commit mode where you can do that. But you can also do separately.
Ah, so cool. Okay, so much to learn. All right, but we're just going to commit. And what's our message going to be? Bad commit message. Okay.
I always put what we did, so we added the head owner data. No,
So I'm going to say create. It's good Git style to use imperative rather than past tense.
Right.
Create SQL file with query joining pets and owners. That's what I'm going to do. What'd you say?
Present tense, it's weird to me.
It is weird, but it's standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've always seen it as like creates.
Oh, I've seen it imperative.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
we can make it.
Have
again.
you seen?
Okay.
I've seen a bunch.
You've seen it that way. Interesting.
If you have blog posts or other things that back up your preferred way of doing things, yeah. Other people. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So cool. And thank you for being the commit police, Misha. All right. So now let's look. All right. Now let's look at the server. So my server is app.js. And here I'm just creating an Express instance. I'm setting my view engine to Pug. How many of you have used Pug? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, some. Okay. It's appropriate for my pets, right? And then I'm making a static directory. What's the static directory for? I have a views directory for my views.
Oh, like your CSS.
Yeah, my CSS and any browser-side JavaScript. CSS, browser-side JavaScript, and images. Those are the three types of things that go into static folders.
It's like things that won't change.
Yeah, things that won't change. Code that it's not code that you're running. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, and static is a great name for things that don't change, and it's standard in Express to call it public. And then I've got a route, just one route, /, and I'm going to render my pets.pug file, which it's really hard for you to see that, but there's a file in my views called pets.pug. I'm going to render that, and I'm going to give it this array as the pets variable. So the array is Astro, species dog, Hobbs, species tiger, Crookshanks, species cat.
So it's an array of objects.
It's an array of objects. And then, and then in Pug, here I have Pug. It has a title. It is linking to my CSS. I just did a tiny bit of CSS because tables just are kind of unreadable without lines and so forth. It's got a body, a header, a table, and notice this table has the headers for the table, and then I iterate over pets. The equals means don't take this as a literal string, but interpret it. So for each pet in pets, I want to make a cell with the pet.name and a cell with the pet.species. All right, questions about this pug?
I'll be here all day. I get it.
You get it somewhat?
So far. Yeah.
So far. Okay, all right, good. So that you know, it's pretty simple, but it does take advantage of the pug iteration.
Right.
I couldn't do this with a static page. I would have to put in each pet individually on a static page. All right. So now so if you just had to guess, I haven't shown you my package.json, but if you just had to guess, how would you guess I would run my server? npm start. You can always look at the package.json and see, and we can look in my package.json, npm start, I've got nodemon installed, and it's just running nodemon on app.js. Okay, yeah, so nodemon. So now I have my app listening on port 3000, and how do I get to it from here? Localhost 3000, looks like I've done that before. And there are my pets. 3 more times what?
I see it, it's going to
Yeah. Well, fortunately, this is recorded, so you can see it as many more times as you want. Okay. All right, cool. Questions? All right. So now we get to the meat of the lecture, half an hour in. We want to, instead of having a static array here, we want to get that array from the database so that if we add a new pet to the database, it'll automatically show on the page. Okay, so first I'm going to prepare for that by saying I'm going to call this let's call this just pets. This is just like, there's just too many pets here. Okay. And then I think I can just do the shorthand, which I think is what are you yelling at me for? Oh, pets equals this. Oh, but I don't want that to be inside my res.render. So we'll put it here instead. Okay, and now, all right, now what? Pets is not defined. Okay. 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 So, cool. So now we've got fine. So, and let's just make sure it still works. Still works, and I know that the changes were recorded because I'm on nodemon, so it restarted the changes. Okay. All right, good. So now I've abstracted this pets out so that I can make it something other than a static array. So let's make it into an array that we get from the database. What do we need in order to get an array from the database? Yeah. Yeah. So how do we set up the database?
That's not right, I'm here for.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be a bad idea to make a separate database file, but I actually think I'm going to just do it. Well, no, it hurts me. So, okay. All right, so in this db.js, I am going to do a const pgp require pg promise. Okay, and why do you think it is giving me this red right here? I haven't put it in quotes. All right. Oh, it must already be installed. I was thinking that I didn't think that I installed it, but if we look at that, I already installed it. Okay, great. So let's see. I'm trying to get better at the keyboard shortcuts. Okay, so PG promise, then we have to do this, and then const db equals pgp what? Yeah.
So it's an object. The way I do it is that it's an object.
Okay.
Host equals localhost.
Okay.
Port equals 5432, and database equals
What else? Okay. And then you just do connection here. Cool.
Oh, should our port be grayed out?
No, this is the port for the database, not for the port for the Express server. But yeah, good question.
That was my first one.
And then we can just do module.exports equals db, right? What's your problem now? Okay. That's pretty much how I always feel. Okay, so, all right. And let's, in this db.js, let's actually make our DB functions. So one of our DB functions, let's make a get pets and species, right? Because that is what this is. It's a pets and species. Do you guys use JS doc? I highly recommend it. So this is gets and gets pets and species from the database. So I actually did a bunch of coding over the weekend to try and get better at JavaScript, and I was pretty scrupulous about using JS doc, and it actually is helpful. It makes you think about what your params are. And in this case, actually, it's going to be none. I'm not actually going to give it any params. And so no params. But if it was, I would do param and I would give it types. But I do return. And what am I going to return here? What do you guys guess that I want to return here? That's not. What do you guess that I want to return? Yeah, but here I need to give it, so I'll say, I can do that, but what data type? Yeah, what were you thinking, Allie?
No, I wanted to hear what you were
Yeah, Mira said array. It is, it's going to be an array, and it's going to be an array of objects, each with keys, name, and species. So helpful when you come back to your code 6 months from now and are wondering what the heck this function does. Yeah, Allie.
Okay, so my understanding is, like, with our work with Monica, is that since we're using PG promise, what our query actually returns.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you are absolutely right. So promise that resolves to an array of objects. Yes. Thank you for correcting. Each with keys, name, and species. Okay. Cool. So.
I love it. We love this. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Love can be shown in the form of chocolate, just to let you know. Okay. So. Okay. So pets and species. Yeah. So now what am I going to do? So I've set it up. That's great. Yeah, I need to do a query. Yeah, I'm going to do a select query. So let's just make a const query, and we'll say it's going to be select. What is my query going to be? Let's make it multi-line. So I want to select, what do I actually want to select? Sometimes it's hard to do the select before you've done the from. So let's do the from first. What tables do we want, or table? And okay, does anybody know the keyboard shortcut to split this in two? Neither do I. Okay, so, yeah, the editor.
So it's weird. It's Command K.
Command K.
Fill of them and then hit the arrow left or right.
Okay. Except I really wanted it to be Command K left. Okay, there we go. Okay, and now I want to look at my DB. Oh, by the way, I also had a seed.sql that inserted all of my data in there. We didn't really go over that, but you know, that's how I got all of those data into the database. But what I really want is db.sql. So how do I find db.sql using only the keyboard? Control 0? Oh, what I want to do is I'm actually going to do Command T. I know the file is called db.sql, and I don't want to mess around finding it. So I just do this, and I'm like, oh, it's actually called tables.sql. Well, look at that. It wasn't even called what I wanted, but it helped. So now I have my tables. All right, cool. All right, so what table or tables do I have to do to get my array that has name of pet, and the species? Yeah, so the name is going to be from pets. So I can now say p.name. We also need species. Yeah, so I'm going to do s.species name, because I'm assuming I'm going to have an S table that's called species. I haven't written it yet. Now we'll do join species. Oh, man. On. Somebody give me the on. Yeah, so Mira said species ID equals pet species ID, but because I have these aliases, I can just say this. I can use S.
Where's the db.name?
We haven't gotten there yet. We're just writing the query.
Oh.
Yeah. The db.ne actually needs a query, and so we're writing that now. Yeah, but great question.
So I just want to say the query out loud just to make sure I got it.
Okay.
So we're selecting pet's name and species name from pets. The as is sp, that's the alias. Right?
That's the alias. The asp is the alias.
Okay, and we're joining species as this alias on the species. Last line is what's getting me.
So the on says we want to join these lines, and the join criterion is that we want the species ID from the species table to equal the species ID from the pets table. Let's just take a moment and see what happens if I, that was, whatever. Okay, sorry. So let's just take a moment and see what happens if I do that without the on. P.name s.species name from pets as P, join species as S. What am I going to get here? Not an error, no error. You think that the on is unnecessary. On might be unnecessary. Okay, so we have guess and error. We have on, like same as if you use the on.
Will we just get like one table that has all of it in it, but they're not combined? Like,
I took all information from this and from this, all mixed without any sense.
Yeah, tell me more about what you mean, Allie.
so we would get every row from pets, and there would be columns for everything from species, but they'd be blank, and then we'd get every row from species.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so like basically joined with blank rows. Or Mira says there'll be everything.
Yeah, so is it called union, joy, or?
Yeah, actually, I actually don't remember what it's called. Yeah, it is a meaningless join. Did you guys have anything you want to add? Okay. Screw you.
And you don't need the
Maybe it actually might refuse to do it without the on, which is actually kind of weird, but yeah, I think it's actually just refusing to do it without the on. But what it would do if I could get it to do it, let me see if I just do a select star from pets join species. No, it just won't do it. What it would do in some other flavors of SQL is it would do every line of pets joined with every line, a cross join is what it's called. Every line of pets joined with every line of SQL, so of species. So for the first pet, you would get a row for first pet species, first pet second species, first pet third species, first pet fourth species, and then the next pet you'd get a row for first second pet first species, second pet second species, second pet third species, because you haven't given it any restriction on which rows to join with which other rows. So that's what the on does. Yeah, my SQL likely can do a cross join. So, but if I do the on, then now it only gives me the rows. It only gives me the rows where those match. This definitely does have redundant columns. So that's why over here, we are going to, so here, that's why here we're just selecting the pet name, the species name, pets as P, species as S, and on species ID equals. Okay, so I can run this just to make sure that this gives me what I want. Great.
Yeah, I see it now.
Okay, so cool. So now we have the query. Now we're going to do the db.all. So let's do a db.all. And we'll do db.all and then query. And I think that's all we need. What if I return db.all query? And I said that I'm returning a promise. Oh, yes. Thank you. This is actually me just not being super familiar.
So I guess my question with that is,
Yeah.
if we don't handle any promise rejections there, we have to handle them.
Ah, yeah. So good idea. So let's do a dot catch here.
We usually do, well, like when we were practicing, we were doing the dot catch in the actual route.
Yeah.
Because we're using
Okay.
the then also.
No, that's yeah. So yeah, that's fine too.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I'm interested in the different ways of doing that. So you can do a dot catch in the query.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I just know if I don't do either, it yells at me.
You're so sensitive, James.
If you don't do a catch on a promise, it will be like unhandled promise rejection.
Yeah. Okay, so keyboard shortcut people, how do I get this back to one screen? Command K. All right. Well, I think I have a feeling that's going to make 3, but we'll do. Yeah. Okay. So, Command Shift P. You can type in things. So, I'm just going to say panes. All right. So there's split. There's show items. There's close other items. Oh my goodness. All right, so let's do panes join. No. Unsplit. No. Okay, I'm screwed. So I'm just gonna do this and cool. All right, so now, fine. So now I've got this get pets and species. So let's go to the app.js and we'll require it. And I'm gonna do, what's this called when I put those in braces? Destructuring? It's an actual question. I actually don't remember.
Yeah.
Destructuring. Okay. Require. Okay, and so we're going to require db.js. Okay, good. Now you're reasonably happy, but now I'm going to say const pets equals get pets and species. And now, since this is a promise, now I have to do my dot then here. And I'm going to say data, or I can even call it pets. And now I'm going to take all of this, and here I'll do, oh, it's going to be so cool, but it wasn't. Okay, there we go. Okay, oh, except, well, that's not really what I wanted to do anyway, but you saw it. I moved all those lines. All right, only slightly mad at me. And oh, it doesn't, yeah, so I actually don't, because that's just a promise. Okay, so, and now we'll do a catch so that we don't get yelled at and traumatize James. All right, so now there's something that we have to take a look at. This has name and species, but what's coming out of the promise has name, but I think it's actually going to have name and species ID. No, species name is what the, because we asked for species name here. So I am going to go back to my app. I'm going to make all of these species name. Yeah, see, I got a little keyboard shortcut game, just a little. And then where else do we have to change it?
Do we need to change it?
No, we don't need to change it, but I'm doing it just in case I decide to switch back to that.
In our pug template?
In our pug template. So here, this has to be species name now. Okay, so cool. Let's see how we're doing over here. Okay, it restarted a bunch of times because we saved a bunch of times. Let's refresh. Yeah, if this does without an error, I'll be shocked. Oh, okay, we did get an error. Relation pets does not exist. If we look, so let's look at our, let's first of all make sure that we're, okay, so we're doing localhost 5432 and the database is pets. And inside our pets database, we do have a relation pets. So what gives? How would you try troubleshooting this? Yeah, my guess is that it's looking at the wrong database. I am going to, just for now, because this is not something I'm familiar with, I'm just going to put in I'm going to do this instead, just to see, because that's the way I'm used to doing it. Okay, so there was something wrong with that connection object. I'm sure it was something just, you know, minimal, but okay. Check it out. It's connected.
Can you explain what you just did changing the connection object?
I will. But first I need, where's Misha? How on earth am I going to remember to commit if she's not here?
Oh, we'll see. Her absence reminded you.
Okay, so Misha, you guys are funny. Okay, so I'm going to first do a status because I always want to see. Now let's do a git add.
Is it possible just to add and then stop video?
It is.
Yeah, probably.
So it will just push update everything.
I know, but I just, or that you can do the dash capital N, you know, like all new files. I just, with Git, I just like to be more explicit. Like, I just, yeah. So I'm going to add this, and now I'm going to commit. And what am I going to, this commit message going to be? Misha, what I'm committing, even in your absence. Okay, what's my commit message going to be? Yeah, and I actually might say, I'm going to say update /route to get data from database.
Before you commit,
Yeah.
you have commit -am.
Dash A means I want everything. I've looked at this and I've decided that I'm okay with everything that's on here. And then M is the message.
Okay, okay, I appreciate that. I was like,
dash A and
yeah,
dot basically.
add in.
Probably. I don't really use dot, but yeah. The question was, are dash A and dot the same? Okay, cool. And so we can see if it works by adding another pet. We only have a few minutes, otherwise we could do a bunch of other things like show the owners and, you know, whatever. But I just want to check it by adding another pet. So I'm going to insert. Well, first I'm going to insert into species because I do want to add Dino, the dinosaur. So I'm going to insert into species. Okay, and then I'll insert into pets. Oh, and let me select. Okay, now I'm going to insert into pets. Except I don't think I did pet name. I think I just did name. Okay, and so now if I refresh this page, the page can't be reached. Why not?
Start.
Yeah, I stopped the server to do my commit.
Okay.
And now there's Dinah the dinosaur.
Thank you so much. This was a big help.
Cool. Any final questions?
Are you gonna post this today?
I'll be posting it today.
I will be watching.
All right, cool. Have a good lunch.
That was great.
Glad you enjoyed it.